Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show now today. Shall we start here on the daily? Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. Well, what's happening? It's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekdaily morning show where we bring you the latest in Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and technical. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, technical, on-chain, and fundamental analysis. I remember my own intro. And today we've got quite a lot to talk about because, as you've probably seen, I didn't get a chance to talk about it yesterday because I wanted to kind of run down what the year was going to look like for you. As you have probably seen over the last couple of days, Sam Bankman-Fried is facing trial, and he is also more than likely going to be putting in a not guilty plea. Kind of saw this coming. As you guys have seen on his media tour, he's been trying to position himself as the bumbling idiot of crypto. That's basically what he's trying to make himself out to be, as a fool. He's trying to make himself out to look like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. I just made a mistake. Gee whiz, guys, I'm so sorry. I really apologize. it just blew up. I don't know what happened. I just mixed the two chemicals wrong and it just imploded on itself. Nobody's really buying it, and the courts aren't going to buy it because he's admitted to multiple criminal charges on camera. Commingling of funds, poor accounting practices, all kinds of different things that are very much, I almost said sin, they certainly are that, but very much illegal. He's openly admitted to, and John J. Ray III, who is in charge of the bankruptcy proceedings, has been able to find. And the fallout of FTX's collapse and contagion continues to spread. I was trying to think of an alliterative term there. Let me go ahead and mute my phone real quick. But guys, the point here is there is a very serious likelihood that SBF will enter a not guilty plea, and he will be doing two things with that. Number one, he will be ticking off a lot of people because he'll be essentially telling the whole world, again, I didn't do anything wrong. Just kind of happened. Well, we know that's not true. We know that it's a lie. But two, he's also probably going to get an even worse punishment and dig his hole even deeper, because if he enters a not guilty plea and the court can very thoroughly prove, no, well, first of all, he's guilty. I mean, he has not been tried by a court. This is a land that is innocent until proven guilty. That's the way it should be. So far be it from me to be his judge. There's a judge that will judge him. There's two of them, one on earth and one in heaven. But nevertheless, they're going to find him guilty more than likely. And they're also going to find him a liar when he says he's not guilty. We all have the right in the United States to plea not guilty, of course. But anyway, we'll talk about all of that. And also, Cameron Winklevoss, one of the Winklevoss twins. As you know, they are the founders of cryptocurrency exchange Gemini. And there's a lot of money owed. And Cameron Winklevoss has got some fighting words for Barry over at DCG. There's a little crypto war going on right now, and it could result in 600,000 Bitcoin being dumped onto the open markets. God only knows what that could do to the price. We're going to take a look at all of that and more here in a little while. But let's go ahead and read some chat first. Got 150 people watching already. How did you guys like the little live stream video I did yesterday since the computer died? By the way, back in studio, I have my laptop charger. I'm working on it. I got to buy another laptop charger. I do apologize for that, just so I have a backup. Really sorry about that. Anyway, tell me, how did you like that little afternoon video, or excuse me, not afternoon video. How did you like the live stream? A couple hundred of you guys tuned in. It seemed like you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's really cool that I could stream from anywhere using that functionality on YouTube mobile. Anyway, we got Sean O'Brien in chat as the first chatter. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Grand Roofing Incorporated, longtime supporter of the channel in chat. Good morning, Jebb and all. We've got Crypto Mini Bike in chat, said good morning. Oh my, said good morning, fam. Hashtag FinSob. Fora, top of the morning. Manuel Solorio said hi, Jebb. Hello. Now, Robert Casanova, Queen. Good morning, members and mods. Hello, everybody. Told me chat disconnected, but it came back on. We got Matt C in chat. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. I found myself rocking back and forth with Jebb swinging. Yes, I was sitting on the swing set in our backyard while I was streaming yesterday. We got CBD Suddy in chat. Mike Lowry in chat. What's up, Mike? Good to see you. Playing this stream at 150 speed is actually 400% because of Jebb. I like to get through content. There's a lot to talk about, and I've got a lot that I want to bring to you today. If we have time, I also want to talk a little bit about global markets. We got CBD Study in chat again, like I said, silent. Justin Eubanks. Let's see. We got the Coin Father in chat, the father of coin. I guess that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin himself is in chat. So shout out to Bitcoin. Let's see. Who else? We got Brian D. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Adam Rourke's in chat. Happy New Year, Jebb. Happy New Year, the Coin Father. I have a little bit of feel-good New Year's news to start out with. I have a friend that I met a couple of years ago over on the Hoshoshi channel. His name is Hoshoshi, and he has a special announcement here. And, of course, I think I'm allowed to talk about this. He put this on his public Twitter. Hoshoshi, make sure to go follow him and everything. He's going to be away for a couple of weeks. Hopefully, he will be away for a couple of weeks. And normally, if you don't know the context, you'd think, Jebb, why are you saying that? That's so rude. But look at this. Hey, friends, my amazing wife brought this little man into the world, and he's happy and healthy. He said video and content will be slower for a while as I spend every moment I can with our son. Wishing you all a happy new year, and I will see you soon on YouTube. That's absolutely awesome. Shout out to you, man. It seems like everybody right now is bringing new ones into the world. Our daughter is due in April, and I know there's another YouTuber that you guys know, a really big YouTuber that I've watched for many years. I'm not going to name the name. That they're expecting, but I'm not going to tell you who because I'm not sure if it's actually public information or not, but it will be at some point, of course. But I'm just really excited because a lot of my friends here on YouTube are bringing new ones into the world. It's really cool, raising up a generation of people that hopefully will know the Lord and also know Bitcoin, and that's a wonderful thing. I'm smiling from ear to ear. God is good. Jebb a real one for doing a backyard stream to not leave us without a show. Yeah, I apologize for that. I really don't like missing streams, and I really don't like not going for the full hour because that's the commitment. And the Bible says, a righteous fellow is he that honors his commitments even to his own hurt. I'm paraphrasing, but that's Psalm 15:4, I think it is, if you want to go check that out. Really good one, even if you're not a believer. Definitely try and honor your commitments. I am striving to do as well as I can in that. That's been a weak area of mine in past that I definitely want to do a better job at. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump on over to CoinMarketCap. Right now, Bitcoin sitting at $16,675, down 0.17% over the last 24 hours, 24 days. Down 0.64% over the last 7 days, 15.72% over the last 90 days. But Bitcoin is up 0.69% year to date. Everything is up year to date almost. We got Solana up 22% year to date. It is recovering. I'd be really careful about buying into Solana right now because it's a little bit speculative. It's kind of one of those moon coins. If it does well, it'll do really well. If it doesn't do well, you're going to lose all your money in it. But I think there is a chance that Solana could come back. I don't think it'll ever reclaim its former glory necessarily, but I do think that it will have I don't know. I think it'll have a somewhat of a comeback. I could see it jumping up into the $20 region. In fact, let's just start there for a second. Solana this is the FTX chart, of course. It stopped trading on FTX when FTX went down. It stopped trading November 11th, but it was trading up at $34. Right now it's down at 12. I don't know if it'll ever get back up to 40. I certainly don't know if it'll ever get back up to 270 where it was. We'll see how the Solana phone does and everything, Solana mobile does. But there's a chance that it could recover. I would sit in kind of the territory of I'll believe it when I see it. Anyway, moving down here, we got Avalanche is doing pretty well this year. That's one that I would love to point out to you guys. I like Avalanche. I think Avalanche has some great tech. The question is, will it be adopted? See, let's go to full screen real quick and teach you one of the reasons why a lot of these altcoins are suffering. So there was an immense amount of traffic in cryptocurrency running through smart contracts, running through decentralized applications, running through cryptocurrencies and the different DEXs, all the different DeFi protocols, NFT marketplaces, all the different things that are built on top of DeFi there was a lot of traffic running through that. And so because there were a lot of traffic, there needed to be a lot of lanes to the highway, if you will. And some of those lanes were on Avalanche. Some of those lanes were on Cardano. Some of those lanes were on Ethereum. Some of those lanes were on Solana. Those are really the big four. The thing is, we built a 24-lane interstate to accommodate all that traffic, and now we only need a 6-lane highway. So a lot of those lanes don't have a lot of traffic on them anymore. And what you're seeing take place is that all the traffic now has a lot more to choose from. There's a massive amount of tech and options compared to how little traffic there is in the industry. So all of the traffic that's trying to choose what protocol to build on, they all get to pick not based on which one is the flashiest, which one is the fastest, which one is already the most adopted. They can instead start narrowing down to the technology and to the adoption. Those are the two main things. So with Avalanche, for example, it has a scaling solution where different kinds of transactions run on different kind of chains to manage high volumes of traffic and transactions. Well, we don't have a high volume of traffic and transactions right now, so that part of their technology, which is really good for scale, doesn't help them much in this kind of going back to basics entrepreneurial startup area that we are in right now. So you're running into a big issue of let's just say there's 5 Apples, like Apple Computer. There's like 5 of those, and all of a sudden 90% of people stopped buying smartphones. People are gonna be a lot more selective because there's not as many consumers. And so that's why you're seeing Ethereum hold its value much better than even Avalanche and Cardano, which I think are great protocols. I'm not a fan of Solana. I've been very vocal about that. I think that it's a very insecure blockchain, and not in the, 9th grade freshman kind of way, but insecure insofar as it's been hacked, it's come down. It's been taken down, taken offline, the way the tokens were allocated, distributed, the venture capital in it, all those different things. It's not my favorite protocol, but I think Avalanche and Cardano are decent, but even they don't have a lot of traffic through them because of the environment that we're in right now. Anyway, that was a bit of a side note, but scrolling down here, you can see pretty much everything is up year to date. There's only a few cryptocurrencies that are down. Internet Computer, Uniced Leo, BitTorrent New, Pax Dollar, that's a stable coin. Binance USD, that's a stable coin, so that's kind of negligible. They're sitting basically where they should be. And Toncoin, which I'm not very familiar with. All of these are down, but even Toncoin down here at the has only dropped a ton compared to the other ones. I'm sorry, I had to. It's up 54.17% over the last 90 days. So everything's been doing relatively well here in the new year, but more or less you can just attribute it to sideways price action. Nothing really that we're going to want to go too deeply in and get super excited about. Now, we're going to talk about this letter over here from Cameron Winklevoss to @BarrySilbert, and we're also going to talk about this guy over here, which I actually need to, oops, sorry about that. I closed the article. I'll pull that up in a second. We're going to talk about Sam Bankman-Fried and the fact that he is going to be pleading not guilty to the, actually, I did have the article up. Apologies for that. He's going to be pleading not guilty to the charges of wire fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud and all of those different charges. We're going to get to all that in a little bit. Let's start out with some technical analysis. Let's just see if there's anything going on in chat that I need to address first, and mention Osama. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. I butchered that. Said, I lose my life savings. Man, gosh. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, be praying for him, man. Grand Roofing Incorporated said, lol, I taught my little girl to let me know when the charts show bit green, and when the red, she yells bye. She yells bye. That's funny. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and jump onto the chart here, guys. We're going to look over at Bitcoin. Not a lot going on, but as you know, we've been keeping a close eye, a weather eye, if you will, out for a break above this downtrend right here. We had a buy signal yesterday, and I told you guys that Bitcoin's in a range that it's going to have to really fight to get out of. Let me just check to make sure that we're on the right screen. I think I need to... Sorry about that. I am on the right screen. There we go. By the way, I just ordered, let me just side note here. I just ordered a Stream Deck, so I'm actually going to be able to have a little monitor and stuff to make sure that I can do that without having to do that. It'll end up making things look a lot better. Any of you guys who have ever used a Stream Deck, you'll know what those are. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, Bitcoin currently is sitting down here at at about $16,650. The main thing that we were looking at yesterday is that Bitcoin had this downtrending level of resistance that it was contending with. It had a lot of sideways price action that was building up the support, the support and the resistance above and below it that's kind of locking it into this channel. We have been moving sideways since well before Christmas. Since February, December the 16th, Bitcoin has been in a range no larger than 3%, 3, maybe 4%. In either direction. This is the range right here. If we just go ahead and measure it, even to the upside, it's not even 4% tall going from bottom to top. That is a very, very tight range, and that tells us a number of things. But the first thing that I'm noticing here is that Bitcoin is trying to break this downtrending level of resistance. Bitcoin is trying to break this downtrending level of resistance by moving straight sideways through the downtrending level of resistance. That right there would give us a lot of information. If we do break the downtrending level of resistance by moving sideways through it, then that essentially means that the bulls and the bears are perfectly matched. They are sitting perfectly in equilibrium, and neither one is any stronger than the other. Because if we were to break bullish here, if we trade sideways through this, then that gives the bulls an incentive to start trying to move the market to the upside. However, if we don't manage to break through it, then that gives the bears a little bit of momentum, and that could give them incentive to move the market to the downside. But if we do break through it and trade sideways, that tells us that the bulls are not strong enough to move us to the upside. The bears are not strong enough to cause us to fall back and backtest the level of support. And it means that we're pretty much perfectly locked in this zone. Looking here at one of our technical indicators, I'll go ahead and turn off part of Lux Algo so you can see the other part. You can see I have Lux Algo price action concepts on. This is a relatively new feature, relatively new addition to Lux Algo. It just got updated with a huge update. I actually made a video on the channel about this update a little while ago. Make sure to go check that video out if you have not already. I really, really, really like this indicator and everything that it has. But one of the things that it brings to the table here is it will give you something called equilibrium. It'll give you your premium, and it'll give you your discount. This is very helpful. I'm not going to get into what the numbers mean right now, but basically the equilibrium is the equilibrium price that the market's moving around. You can see right here, based on our recent action, this action over here, this action here, all of this action over here, the equilibrium price for Bitcoin, according to Lux Algo price action concepts, is 16,650 up to 16,680. It's a very narrow range, and it tells us where the middle line of this market movement is. If we were in a trend, then it would give us some more, it would give us even more data, and we'd try to break through the level and then reset the equilibrium and go up and down. It's basically also telling us that the premium is sitting up here on this candle wick, and the discount sitting down here on this candle wick. The question we have to decide right now is that we have to watch for, because we're not deciding, is whether or not Bitcoin's going to break up into this order block right here is what this is called, whether it's going to break up into this order block or if it's going to break down into this order block. That's really the question. Do we break up into the order block that starts at $16,840 all the $16,840 that goes to $17,000, or do we break down to $16,570 down to $16,450? That's what we want to look out for, and it would actually make a lot of sense if we did break to the downside, in my opinion, guys, because if you remember from the other part of Lux Algo, which this might start getting a little bit confusing, a little bit complicated for you, we're currently sitting here below the strong level of the trend catcher right here, and if you saw, I don't know if you saw that, but for just a moment, this actually turned purple, then it turned red, then we had a strong sell signal. So Bitcoin is currently, at the very moment, trying to reject from this level of resistance right here, and it very well may do that. I would not be surprised if it did that. And part of the reason for it is that Bitcoin has no strength right now. It also has not confidently broken this downtrend, by the way, because depending on how you draw the downtrend, Bitcoin either has or has not actually gone through the downtrend. You could actually draw the downtrend like this very easily, and you could get away with that. If we remove this part of Lux Algo, you'll see that is attaching to the top of the wick right here, and you could argue that Bitcoin has not actually broken through it just yet. So you can see the strong sell signals coming in. By the way, we're still under a strong sell. We're still under a sell signal up here. That sell signal has not been invalidated by a confirmed buy signal with trend catcher. So we are still in the negative. We are still in the sell territory. And so that's what I'm really looking at right now. Bitcoin, in theory, you could say it has a potential to break to the upside because of this this bull flag that is trying to form right now. Couple of problems with that. Number one, we haven't broken through the major level of resistance. Number two, we haven't confidently gotten above equilibrium. Number three, we haven't gotten above trend catcher that's sitting right here. Number four, we have a consistent pattern of three major lower lows and lower highs. Forgot what number we're on. We'll just call it 4. I think I may have already said 4. This might actually be 5. We're sitting here under a strong sell signal that has not been confirmed, and we actually have no confidence will be confirmed at any point in the near future. And let's just call it 72. Cameron Winklevoss just fired a shot across the bow at Barry Silbert, and that could cause a lot of chaos in crypto. And here in the next segment, we're going to describe what exactly that means. But for now, Bitcoin is not looking like it's in an extremely strong position. Now, there is one other thing I want to show you, and let me see if it's in here. See if I can turn that on. There we go. So as you can see, I just turned on this feature here in Lux Algo, and this gives us things called chocks, change of characters, and equal highs and equal lows and everything. You can see on the 4-hourly chart up here on our little monitor, we're in a bullish change of character. That means that we had set an equivalent top, and then we broke bullish above it. However, on all the other time frames, on the 1-hour chart, we're actually, I bet the chalk's right here. I bet it's right there. Let's see. I think that indicator is still loading. Give it 1 second. These are very powerful indicators, so it takes them a second to load sometimes on my computer. There we go. Actually, that's a good point. The chalk's actually up there. So see, I'm not as good at spotting these as Lux Algo is. So there's a bearish change of character there. Then on the daily chart, there's a bearish change of character in play. Also, we can see from our indicator up here. I'm sorry, not a bearish change of character, a break of strength, a break of structure up there right now. You can see that break of structure being right here where we were trying to set an equal low and we broke down below it. And then even down on the 15-minute chart, which is also showing, there is a change of character probably right here. I would assume it's right here. Let's see if I can spot it. I'm trying to figure out how to spot it before the indicator shows it. I like to have chart vision. It's right there. Dang, close. Right there. Boom. See, there's the change of character. And then there's a bigger change of character. Interesting. There's a nested change of character. You don't see that happen very often. Nevertheless, you can see even down here on the 15-minute chart, Bitcoin had equilibrium up here. It's breaking down into that discount zone, as you can see right here. You see the 88% right there? That's saying that we're more than likely going to go down here, much less likely to go up there into the premium. Same thing on 4-hourly chart. We have basically a slightly higher likelihood at this point that we start jumping down to the discount. That's what these numbers are representing as the likelihood. See, it just jumped up to 55 as Bitcoin's falling right now. Are we going to go down here? Are we going to go up here? That's what these are updating in real time. By the way, if you guys don't have Lux Algo, you are missing out big time. And I'll tell you why. I've been doing technical analysis for over 5 years. Pretty much every single day. For about a 3 or 4 year period, I made a video 7 days a week, 350-ish days a year. I'd miss 2 to 3 weeks a year total. Like I didn't take weekends. I did TA almost every single day. And so in that time, I learned a lot about technical analysis, and that was a blessing. That was a gift, and I'm very thankful for that gift. And one of the things I learned are a lot of different technical indicators. Lux Algo implements pretty much all of those and allows you to pretty much read the market the way that you would if you were using all the individual technical indicators, but it helps you to understand it in a whole. I love technical analysis, and I love Lux Algo. Make sure to check it out with the link in the description box down below. What's my point here? Bitcoin's in a range over the last 36 hours. That range, on first glance, could look bullish because it's a bull flag. Upon closer examination, you have reason to be slightly more skeptical than bullish, and that's kind of what Lux Algo is saying right here. It's saying there's a 53% likelihood we jump down here right now. It's 55 a second ago. Bitcoin's moving around a little bit. You know, this update's in real time. 47% likelihood we move to the upside. That's kind of where I am. I'm agreeing with Lux Algo here. I'm slightly more confident that we're going to have a movement down than a movement up. But it's kind of one of those things where there's not a lot of confidence in either direction. And if there's not a lot of confidence in either direction, the trend's your friend until it ends. The trend is actually down. You can say, oh, the trend's up. I'm talking about the larger trend. The larger trend is down. And this is a corrective movement in a larger downtrend. And so that's where I'm standing right now. I'm not confident in a break up to $17,000 just yet, but that could change. Let's go ahead and read some chat. Got 364 people watching. Guys, smash that like button. Let's see if we can't get up to 150 likes. Really, really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. Silent said, Cool People's Club. A lot of us are IT guys here, I guess. It's pretty cool. Jebb is like the Tim Pool of the crypto scene. I don't know who Tim Pool is. By the way, yes, I'm drinking coffee because I'm trying to catch up on sleep from being awake for 21 hours yesterday. We got 3 hours of sleep, not last night, the night before last, because we drove my sister to the airport. So working on it. The cool thing is I have 1 day worth of coffee left at the house, so I'm going to be forced to take a break from it for a little bit until we get to the grocery store. So there you go. Justin Eubanks in chat. Classic IT guy in chat. Now it's about to get rocked with a dragon punch. Bitcoin got hit with a Hadoken. We got some what, anime fans in chat? I don't know. All right, so let's go ahead and continue moving on here. There's a lot of articles about this right now. Sam Bankman-Fried is all the news right now. This is frankly evolved into not a crypto story anymore. Like, crypto's following this, but this is mainstream. Look, you type in FTX not good, there's not a single article in here, and this is, just the way it is. There's not a single publication in here for a long time that's actually from crypto, from like a crypto site, like a Cointelegraph, a Coindesk, or whatever. MSN, TheStreet.com, NBC.com, Investing.com, CNN.com, Washington Post, Bloomberg, Fox News. This is a big story. We're just going to read this one over here on Investing.com. Bankman-Fried set to enter not guilty plea in FTX fraud case. Go figure. Sam Bankman-Fried is expected on Tuesday to enter a plea of not guilty to criminal charges that he cheated investors and looted billions of dollars at his now bankrupt FTX cryptocurrency exchange, according to a source familiar with the matter. We've got a lot of those in recent years. Last 10 years, we've had a lot of sources familiar with the matter that like to go unnamed. Bankman-Fried is accused of illegally used FTX customer deposits to support his Alameda Research hedge fund, buy real estate, and make millions of dollars in political contributions in what prosecutors have called a fraud of epic proportions. He is scheduled to appear at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time before U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan in Manhattan. A lawyer for Bankman-Fried did not immediately reply to requests for comment. It is not unusual for criminal defenses to initially plead not guilty. Defendants are free to change their plea at a later date. Bankman-Fried has been Bankman-Fried on a $250 million bond following his extradition last month from the Bahamas, where he lived and where the exchange was based. Since his release, Bankman-Fried has been subject to economic monitoring, subject to electronic monitoring, and required to live with his parents, both professors at Stanford Law School in California. Isn't that the punishment, I guess? going and living with your parents. And just kidding. Love my parents. Anyway, let's go ahead and keep reading here. This is really what I wanted to get at here. This is the highlighted piece of this article and the meat of it. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology graduate has been charged with 2 counts of wire fraud and 6 conspiracy counts, including to launder money and commit campaign finance violations. He could face up to 115 years in prison. If convicted, his ex-girlfriend, Carolyn Ellison, was facing up to, I think, 112. Bankman-Fried has admitted to making mistakes running FTX, but said he did not believe he was criminally liable. The 30-year-old crypto mogul wrote a boom in the value of crypto, et cetera, collapsed his $26 billion value. This is another part I wanted to read here. Carolyn Ellison, who is Alameda's chief executive, and Gary Wang, FTX's former chief technology officer, pleaded guilty to 7 and 4 criminal charges, respectively, and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. So now the question is, what is Sam Bankman-Fried's, what's the gambit? What's the Sam Bankman-Fried gambit? So, you've seen the interviews. You've seen the press tour. You've seen the lies and the shenanigans on national television that Sam Bankman-Fried has posted. We've covered a lot of it on this channel, how he said that there was absolutely nobody in charge of risk management at the exchange, how the commingling of funds between Alameda and FTX was epic. How $1 billion was accounted for at both companies when it was only at one company. How there was conspiracy seemingly going on between Sam Bankman-Fried and many of the other people at the top at FTX to make a ton of money and then use it for their lavish lifestyles. It really just, it's shocking. It's almost like, these people that get on social media and they're like, they just flex because like, oh yeah, I got a Ferrari. So then they have an Instagram account about the Ferrari, and the Instagram account where they have the Ferrari makes enough money because people want to see the Ferrari to pay for the Ferrari. And it's just this kind of, the lifestyle is what is actually making the money, and then the money provides for the lifestyle, and there's no actual value there. That's essentially what seemed to be going on at FTX. It was a decent exchange. people were buying into it, including the celebrity endorsements, were buying into it because of the lifestyle that Sam Bankman-Fried had. They were buying into it because of the promise that Sam Bankman-Fried had of being this incredibly talented, successful young guy who was going to go out and change the world, and he was going to bring financial freedom to the masses. He was going to make the people on FTX rich. He was going to bring about regulatory clarity in the cryptocurrency industry. He was going to help to establish norms and protocols for hacking so that when people did get hacked, they would have a predetermined system set up in the industry for how they would get the money back and how they would be able to keep some of it. This guy wanted to be the thought leader in crypto. And now he's trying to convince everybody he's an idiot. I don't buy it. I buy that Sam Bankman-Fried committed fraud. I'm not the judge. Leave that to the courts to decide whether he did or not. I believe it that some very strange things were going on. I'll leave it at that. What I don't buy is that he's stupid. I don't buy that he's a fool necessarily. I don't buy that he's an idiot. I don't. I really don't. First of all, I'm not gonna call somebody an idiot in the first place because I'm not too interested in that homonym. I don't think it's very godly, but I also just don't buy it. I don't think he's a fool. I don't think he's an idiot. I don't think he's stupid or of low intelligence. I think he's a very smart guy. I think he's extremely intelligent. And I think he knew exactly what he was doing. You don't build a $32 billion company and not know what you're doing. Now, there's a lot of things that they didn't know what they were doing. They had no idea how to run the accounting of that company. Goodness gracious. Company with 1,000+ employees, tens of billions of dollars in value and in customer finances, and they were using a small business version of QuickBooks to do their accounting. There's a lot of things that they didn't know. I'm not saying they didn't know it, that they knew everything. But as far as what it took to go get the networking, to get the right people on board who could build the tech, to at least set up the systems, even if they weren't set up very well, he knew what he was doing. And he knew what he was doing so well that it seems like he also knew what he didn't know. And instead of trying to fill in the gaps with talented people, he let the leaks grow and grow and grow, not until the ship sunk, but until enough water poured in that the bow broke. And not the bow, the keel, the spine of the ship cracked and the whole thing sunk. I don't buy that he's an idiot, but he wants you to. He wants Capitol Hill to buy that. He wants the American people to buy that. He wants the Bahamian people to buy that. He wants the world to buy that. He wants people to buy something. Before, it was that he wanted people to, and this is really the point. Before, what he wanted people to buy was that he was the wonder kid genius. That's what he was selling for 3 years. Now he wants to buy that he's an idiot. I don't think he's an idiot. I'm not going to call anybody an idiot. But I also don't think he's a fool. There are people that are fools, for sure. I don't think he's a fool. I think he knew what he was doing. And I think the courts are going to find that out, and they're going to tell us what they think. And I don't think the not guilty charge is going to get him anywhere. I think the not guilty charge is actually going to get him in more trouble than not, because he's not going to get a deal from cooperating with prosecutors if he's pleading not guilty. Carolyn Ellison and Gary Wang, they got some kind of a deal. They were by them entering a not guilty, a guilty plea, and them basically admitting to it, they are cooperating with the federal prosecutors against Sam Bankman-Fried and some of the other people at the top there, and they're going to get benefits for that. Maybe less jail time, maybe more of a slap on the wrist rather than 115 years in prison or 112 or whatever it was Carolyn Ellison was facing. Sam Bankman-Fried, if he doesn't cooperate, isn't going to get that. He's going for broke. He's going for everything. He's going for all the marbles to get off scot-free and walk away. And it's really just not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. And a lot of federal prosecutors, former federal prosecutors, don't think it's going to work. There's been many that have been interviewed about this, and not very many people that know law and know securities law and know exchange law and know how these kind of exchanges work very intricately. They don't think that he's going to get away with this. And I don't think so either. So Sam Bankman-Fried pleading not guilty. It's going to tick off a lot of the crypto industry, but eventually everybody in the crypto industry will move on. Maybe not forget about it. Although we should forgive, a lot of the people in the industry probably won't forgive. As far as, I'm not saying you ever do business with them again, but forgiveness is a good thing. We all need it. But I don't think that that's his biggest threat, that there's a couple million people that are ticked off at him. I think his biggest threat is that he's not going to get a deal, and he might never see the light of day again if he actually gets that full sentence. Now, he will probably end up getting out of it because he's hooked in with the elites and everything, but we'll see. Anyway, Do Kwon, SBF are at fault for... wow. I'm not going to read the rest of that. That's terrible. Scam Bankman Greed. Ooh, that's a new one. That's an interesting play on words. Let's see. Only trust the man in the Ferrari. He's using a psychological ploy to posture some type of emotional dysfunction. That's what I'm getting at. He's trying to act like he's a fool or act like he's mentally unstable or something, and get out of it that way. FTX Fallout is like if Nintendo fell apart. It would make many people drop a Pokemon or two. That'd be so sad if Nintendo fell apart. There's no way he is stupid. He figured out how to programmatically do arbitrage and make billions. Not many can do something like that. No, the dude's a genius. I'll give him that. He's an incredibly, as far as IQ is concerned, he's an incredibly intelligent person. Queen said SBF thought he was the Messiah. Now he pays for that. Hashtag false prophet. I don't know if he thought he was the Messiah, but he definitely thought he was the metaphorical, if not, probably not literal, but metaphorical savior of crypto. And clearly that's not the case. I was told ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's absolutely right. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. But one of the things that that prosecutors prosecute on is intent. That's part of it. It's not the biggest thing, but it is part of it. Let's see. All right. Set looks better. No more bedroom streams. No, well, I'm working on a home set at our house because we have a daughter coming soon, and we have a 2-year-old. So I will be streaming from home every once in a while. And by the way, special announcement: I just got a bunch of stuff ordered so that I can have this travel set with the exact same quality as far as audio and audio, microphone, camera, etc. And I can take it anywhere in the world. So that's pretty cool. We have extra cameras that we're not using, so I'm going to end up putting some camera bag together. Got a new camera bag, got a new mic stand, a few other things. I got this little MVI thing for, I have a giant soundboard over here. I've got a little portable one that I can throw in a backpack. So I'm going to be able to stream anywhere on the planet, whether I go to a stream, whether we go to some family in Michigan, whether we go anywhere, whether I'm at home or not, I can do that anywhere. But then also on the other side of that, I want to work on a home set. So if I'm at home, I can do that. But if ever I can't stream for some reason, apparently I can stream from my phone. So I can always do that too. I will do my best to make sure content is flowing as much as I can. Of course, I've told you guys already, and I'll tell you again, and here in a second, we're going to go into our next segment. But just so you know, there will be a 2-week pretty much complete hiatus after our newborns here, so I can make sure that I'm pouring into my family and my new daughter. She's going to be here in April. Due date's April 20th, so whenever she's here, it'll probably be sometime in April. Might be a week or two early. Malachi was a couple weeks early. Then I'm going to be on for 2 weeks. I'm going to be working kind of part-time for about a month, but I'll probably still be streaming, making content in that first month after those 2 weeks are over. But first 6 weeks or so will be a little bit, obviously, priorities. SBF, your karma will deliver. You've stolen money from hardworking families. You shall not have a single good night's sleep. Yeah, and that's the thing. And let me just say this, and what I'm about to say will probably upset a lot of people, but it's true. We need to forgive Sam Bankman-Fried. Let me clarify. That does not mean, because I know people are going to grab pitchforks when I say that. That does not mean we ever do business with him again. That does not mean that he should not be pressed charges, that he should not have charges pressed against him. That does not mean that he should not do jail time. That does not mean that he should ever be allowed to run an exchange ever again. That does not mean that he should ever be allowed to do what he did again. That does not mean that he should go unpunished. But if you're holding on to bitterness in your heart against Sam Bankman-Fried, you're only hurting yourself. You're not doing yourself any favors. First of all, the Bible says if you won't forgive, then he won't forgive you. That's a scary thing because you need God's forgiveness because we've all fallen short of the glory of God. But two, and this is probably more tangible to you if you're not a believer, the bitterness that you're holding on to against Sam Bankman-Fried, even if you lost your life savings from him, he's still got power over you. He had power over your money, with your money being on exchange. You were not financially sovereign, but something that's a whole lot more important than financial sovereignty is spiritual sovereignty. What are you letting steal your joy? What are you letting steal your peace that God has for you? Now, by the way, God is not we're not consumers and God's the producer. We're to serve God with all our heart. I just want to make sure that paradigm's clear. But one of the gifts that God has for us and the fruit of the Spirit is joy and peace. You can have that, but not while you're holding on to bitterness and unforgiveness, and not while you're not trusting the Lord. Fair play, Jebb. Family first every time. Absolutely. Class Guy T Guy said, hashtag FinSov. I knew a Bible verse was coming. You can bet on it. Shan Sharp, have you seen that? LeBron. All right. Cool. Let's see. My sister had a New Year's Eve wedding. Whoa. That's so cool. April 20th, Lil 420, awesome birthday. Yeah, that's complete coincidence. I mean, obviously, you don't really get to choose that kind of thing. We used to have an office that was suite number 420 also. I just clarify, I've never smoked pot a single time in my entire life. I'm not interested in it. So that's not my thing. But it is pretty funny that number keeps showing up. Anyway, Bible is the best thing that's happened to mankind. Amen. All right, let's keep going. Let's read a letter here. Let's read a letter. An open letter. Cameron Winklevoss, if you don't know him, he and his brother, Tyler Winklevoss, the Winklevoss twins, they were the guys that basically got screwed over by Mark Zuckerberg regarding Facebook. Well, they went on and became billionaires anyway by founding Gemini. They took a lot of the money from the lawsuit and they invested in Bitcoin on Mt. Gox 75,000 years ago. And now they are super rich, have Gemini, and want Gemini to get its own, basically, ETF one day. They've been trying for that for a long time. And essentially, there's a lot of money owed after the FTX fallout. So let's back up. Barry Silbert, CEO and founder of Digital Currency Group. Digital Currency Group owns a number of different companies, one of them being CoinDesk, another one of them being Genesis. This letter is in regards to some money that is owed to the tune of $900 million. Earn update, an open letter to Barry Silbert. Basically, Cameron Winklevoss and Barry Silbert have been in communications trying to get some money back for a long time. It has not taken place. I'll actually read this last tweet first, just so that you can kind of understand what's going on here. Let's start right down. Where should we start? A lot of retweets from Gemini here. Yesterday was a tough day for our industry. Our hearts go out to all those impacted by recent events at FTX. We are working together to build a brighter future, and moments like these are painful, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Cameron and Tyler tweeted about that. Scrolling up a little bit, there's a lot of fallout because of the contagion going on. Everybody's upset. Earn update today. Huilan Loki presented a plan on behalf of the creditor committee to resolve the liquidity issues at Genesis and DCG and provide a path for the recovery of assets. This plan is based on information received from Genesis, DCG, and their respective advisors also. You can go ahead and read that on your own. But then you get to the letter. I'll go ahead and read this verbatim. An open letter to Barry Silbert. Barry, today marks 47 days since Genesis halted withdrawals. I am writing on behalf of more than 340,000 earned users who are looking for answers. These users aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They are real people. A single mom who lent her son's education money to you. A father who lent his son's bar mitzvah money to you. A husband and wife who lent their life savings to you. A school teacher who lent his children's college fund to you, a policeman, and so many more. Altogether, these people are entrusted you with more than $900 million of their assets. They deserve concrete answers, and we are here to get them. Barry Silbert ends up replying to this, but first off, Cameron Winklevoss is trying to make this, is trying to ensure that this isn't a number on a spreadsheet. Joseph Stalin, and I'm only quoting him on this because he was a prime example of how evil this is. I think it was him that said one time that one death is a tragedy, 1 million is a statistic. Well, I think what Cameron Winklevoss is trying to stop here is from the $900 million turning into a statistic, because it's not a statistic, it's real people. For the past 6 weeks, we have done everything we can to engage you in good faith and collaborative manner in order to reach a consensual resolution for you to pay back the $900 million that you owe, while helping you preserve your business. We appreciate that there are startup costs to any restructuring, and at times things don't go as fast as we would like. However, it is now becoming clear that you have been engaged in bad faith stall tactics. Let's back up. Barry Silbert, founder and CEO of DCG. DCG owns Genesis. Genesis has an earn program. That earn program is essentially insolvent right now because that earn program had a lot of money over on FTX. And Cameron Winklevoss has something to say about it. So that's kind of the background. For example, on December 2nd, we expressed our belief that getting everyone in a room together as soon as possible would be the most productive path towards reaching a resolution. You agreed, but stated you only do so after there was a proposal on the table. On December 17th, the proposal was delivered to you. On December 25th, Christmas Day, an updated version of this proposal was delivered to you. Despite this, you continue to refuse to get in a room with us to hash out a resolution. In addition, you continue to refuse to agree to a timeline with key milestones. Every time we ask you for tangible engagement, you hide behind lawyers, investment bankers, and processes. After 6 weeks, your behavior is not only completely unacceptable, it is unconscionable. The idea in your head that you can quietly hide in your ivory tower and that all of this will just magically go away or that this is someone else's problem is pure fantasy. To be clear, this mess is entirely your own making. DCG, of which you were the founder and CEO, owes Genesis, its wholly owned subsidiary, $1.675 billion. This is money that Genesis owes to earned users and other creditors. You took this money, the money of school teachers, to fuel greedy share buybacks, illiquid venture investments, and kamikaze grayscale NAV trades that balloon the fee generation AUM of your trust, all at the expense of creditors and all for your own personal gain. It is now time for you to take responsibility for this and do the right thing. So essentially, DCG taxed their subsidiary Genesis of a lot of money so that they could do whatever they wanted to do to expand their empire. Genesis now is in a hole, and they needed that money that DCG taxed from them, being their parent company, to pay back its earned users. And DCG and Genesis both are up a creek a little bit because they had money that they lost from the FTX fallout and contagion thereof. It is not lost on us that you started your career as a bankruptcy restructuring associate, and it's not lost on us that you've been working desperately to try and firewall DCG from the problems that you created at Genesis. You should dispense with this fiction because we all know that what you know, that DCG and Genesis are beyond commingled. That's a very, very bold statement because that's definitely not the way that should be. Everyone takes orders from you and always has, and anything you have done after the fact to pretend otherwise won't hold up. If instead you had put all this energy into finding a resolution, we would have been done by now. Everyone would be in a better place, including you, including the school teachers. Earned users are tired, they're scared, many are in dire straits, and yet despite all that, they have had to endure. They have been remarkably patient and supportive, but there's only so much more they can take. They deserve a resolution for a recovery of the assets they lent to you and an end to this nightmare. To this end, and for the final time, we are asking you to publicly commit to working together to solve this problem by January 8th, 2023. We remain ready and willing to work with you, but time is running out. Sincerely, Cameron Winklevoss. To which Barry Silbert responded, DCG did not borrow $1.675 billion from Genesis. Might be true. Seems like they took $1.675 billion from Genesis. DCG has never missed an interest payment to Genesis and is current on all loans outstanding. Next loan maturity is May 2023. DCG delivered to Genesis and your advisors a proposal on December 29th and has not received any response. Cameron Winklevoss said, there you go again. Stop trying to pretend that you and DCG are innocent bystanders and had nothing to do with creating this mess. It's completely disingenuous. So how does DCG owe Genesis $1.675 billion if it did not borrow the money? Oh, right, that promissory note. Good point. DCG didn't borrow money to them, but they've never missed a loan payment to them. What? So I guess he's saying that this loan doesn't exist. They're paying back interest on another loan. Will you or will you not commit to solving this by January 8th in a manner that treats the $1.1 billion promissory note as $1.1 billion? Silbert and family are done. I wouldn't be expecting anything. Here's the thing, guys. Genesis, let me just show you this. If Genesis is forced to liquidate, I don't know if I can tell you the number. I just want to be able to show it to you. If Genesis is forced to liquidate the hedge fund here, they have a huge amount of Bitcoin, and I believe the number is about 600,000. Let me see if I can find that. How much BTC does Genesis hold? Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, but if I'm not mistaken, they own between 500 and 600,000 Bitcoin. That is a huge portion of all of the Bitcoin in circulation. And if something happens to Genesis, they're going to have to dump that on the market to cover bankruptcy proceedings. That's one of the reasons that we have to be really careful during this contagion protocol, because if we, in this contagion ecosystem, because if something does happen to Genesis and they do have to dump that Bitcoin on the open market, God only knows what the price could do to that, because you're not going to find an over-the-counter buyer for 600,000 Bitcoin that easily. You're just not. Who in the world has enough money to buy 600,000 Bitcoin? I mean, that 600,000 Bitcoin, let's just see, what is that worth? $20 billion? 20, 30, $40 billion? Excuse me, $100 billion? It's a lot of money. It's a whole lot of money. Let's see here. Times 16,650. That's 100,000 million. Yeah, it's $10 billion. So that's a ton of money. That might be the word for it. Jebb, was good to see you on Tom Crown last night, My Time UK. Yeah, it was good to go say hi to Tom. Doing a good thing over there. So yeah, that'd be the question, is what's going to happen with Genesis? What's going to happen with DCG? Because those companies, and by the way, DCG owns CoinDesk. So this is a really, really, really big deal. What's going to happen here is going to dictate a lot. Let's see. Looks like we got some people are referencing Kelly. Is Kelly in chat? Where's Kelly? Where's Kelly? Oh, there he is. Kelly dropped a heart. What's up, man? Good to see you, Kelly. Got Matt C and Chad, Colin McDonald. Let's see. Okay, on my computer, I will throw my phone if I keep trying to type on it, lol. All right, well, let's see. Now's a good time for questions, guys. Do you have any questions about anything we've talked about? Any of the technical indicators we looked at? Any of the news stories we looked at? Any of the articles we looked at? Anything. Whatever it is, tell me. I might not have the perfect answer for you, but I can try to. Anything that you would like for me to teach on, let me know. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Solana ripping. Solana has been doing pretty well relatively recently. Let's take a look at it. Solana is up 12.54% today, up 15% today. It's doing very well. Like I said, there is a chance that you can make quite a bit of money in Solana on its recovery. The question is, how far will it recover? You know, that's the thing, is if Solana does go into a big rally, and it's jumping around a lot right now. It's up 17.5% right now. Let's just take a look at the chart. Why not? We can look at Solana. Look at Solana over USD. It's doing pretty well. And it kind of makes sense because Solana is down here at very low levels. The thing I would look for is this downtrend right here. If you take a look at this downtrend level of resistance at the moment, this downtrend is, it's almost just a sideways level of resistance, but not quite. This is a level that you're going to want to pay a lot of attention to. You can see Lux Algo right now sitting equilibrium right around $11.50. It's giving a 74% likelihood that we rally up to the premium, which is up around $15. So that's pretty encouraging. We got a confirmed buy signal down here on the 4-hourly chart. Daily chart, we have a buy signal that is now confirmed as well. Well, actually, the daily chart candlestick isn't closed yet, so we're going to wait for that close. But then if the daily chart closes green, that'd be wonderful for Solana. 12-hour, we're already confirmed green. Daily chart, we could end up having that buy signal. We could also, if we broke up here above 15, have a change of character, break to the upside. That'd be wonderful. It wouldn't surprise me if Solana did recover a little bit because there's a lot of money in the Solana ecosystem, and there's a lot of people that are very confident in Olana. The question I would have is, can Solana grab back a lot of the trust that the ecosystem had for it? Can it grab back a lot of the adoption that has dropped off from everybody's blockchain this bear market? And can Solana basically rebuild the empire that it had before? I don't know. I'm not really too confident in that, especially with how much of a backing it had from FTX and the FTX empire. But guys, don't forget, there are multiple other empires in crypto. It's not just FTX. FTX was by far not the only empire in crypto. FTX was just one. You also have the Crypto.com empire. You got the Coinbase empire. You got the Binance empire. You have the DCG empire. You have all these different little empires, these little kingdoms warring and fighting for each other. We saw one go down, and it did this. What happens if another one goes down? What happens if a DCG goes down? What happens if, especially if DCG goes down, what happens if Genesis goes down? What happens if any one of these companies that is holding a large amount of Bitcoin goes down and has to liquidate? That's a big problem for the market. How long do you think a recession would be in play? That's a good question. Let's talk about that. So, I've talked about in yesterday's stream and in many pieces of content recently how I think 2023 is going to be a very difficult year for the global economy. Running through it briefly, just so that you kind of have this backing. China's in dire straits. Russia, Ukraine has blown up globalization. There's a demographical crisis beginning this decade all around the world, especially in China, but also in the rest of the first world, except for a few key exceptions like the United States and New Zealand. There's going to be more than likely an agricultural crisis this year, as many different farming communities are under the issue of not having any fertilizer because it all came from Russia and Ukraine. On top of that, you also have food exports globally going down because of the amount of wheat that was being exported from Russia and from Ukraine. They're still exporting a little bit, but both of them have been largely knocked offline. You run into the concern of unemployment rates. Whenever we see unemployment rates jumping in the way that they are right now, it has always led to a recession. You keep in mind that the U.S. Federal Reserve is raising interest rates very aggressively so that they can maintain a very strong U.S. dollar, so that they can continue to garner as much support towards the U.S. dollar as possible to maintain that global strength, that dollar strength against the Russian ruble and against which, by the way, the Russian ruble is not even close to a competitor for the US dollar. Don't worry about that. But they want to maintain as much strength as they possibly can so that they can maintain powerful sanctions against Russia. That leads to a twofold impact on the Bitcoin market, threefold, actually. Number one, it leads to a housing market that goes into a glut. We're seeing housing market prices decline quarter over quarter for the first time in 13 years right now nationally. Number one, that's what the interest rates are doing. Number two, it leads to the stock market dropping because you can't get as much cheap debt, which is what our economy has been built on for the last 10 years. And on top of that, you also have a strong dollar. All of those things have negative correlations. And by negative, I mean bad, not negative as an inverse. All of those things have negative correlations with Bitcoin. Housing market going down, never good for Bitcoin. We've never really seen that happen before, but there's very good reason to assume that's not a good thing for Bitcoin for a couple of reasons. It means the stock market's going down. Bitcoin is positively correlated. Bitcoin is positively correlated to the stock market. So if the stock market's going down, then that is a bad thing for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is inversely correlated to the Dixie, and the Dixie goes up whenever the US dollar, whenever the interest rates are high, and the US dollar is able to maintain this really hawkish, strong position that forces everybody to work with the US dollar because it's the strongest of all the currencies, even more so than normal. Those are some very interesting and uncommon geopolitical factors at play right now, and they are not doing any favors for Bitcoin. Interest rate hikes are likely not going to slow down. I think you're going to see another 50 basis point rate hike. We're at, 4.75% right now. You're almost certainly going to see another higher rate hike. Guys, I cannot stress it enough. You are seeing the end of globalization as we know it right now. I'm not saying the world's going to go into an apocalypse. I'm not saying that we're going to go into this deep 10-year-long depression like we did in the 30s, but the globalization as we know it, which is international free trade, is coming to an end. You have such an implosion of that system going on right now. You have America being more defensive than ever during the last two presidencies, being extremely defensive. President Donald Trump was very defensive of American manufacturing. People on the left beat him up for it. Then Joe Biden came in, and Joe Biden's doing the same thing. We've had two presidents that are trying to onshore manufacturing, that are trying to bring as much of the actual economic production, not just consumption, back to the states as possible. That is really hindering the rest of the world. On top of that, China is going through one of the worst possible scenarios it possibly could relating to the pandemic at the moment, which is nightmare fuel for anybody that wants to do business with China because manufacturing is going to go offline. On top of that, Xi Jinping is descending further into madness and isolating himself even further to the point where China is becoming such an unpredictable state that it doesn't know how to run itself, which is very common in Chinese history. It's very common that the Chinese empires of old would either be invaded and conquered or they'd fall apart because the emperor got too powerful and secluded himself. And that's exactly what Xi is doing right now. He's following history. None of these things are beneficial for trade. None of the global trade, anyway. None of these things are beneficial for the Bitcoin market. All of them throw monkey wrenches in the system that was built around the cryptocurrency industry. As I talked about yesterday, Bitcoin is actually designed to thrive itself. Bitcoin itself is designed to technologically, culturally, and societally thrive during an era like this. What is not designed to succeed as well is the cryptocurrency industry. The crypto industry has been built like the tech sector. The tech sector is getting slammed right now because there's rising cost of goods. There is less cheap debt. There is a demographical change. I won't say crisis, but a change taking place in the United States where the boomers are starting to grow into retirement, leading to a strain on the economy, not in a negative way. Of course, people retire. That's part of it, but it does from an economical standpoint, purely from a practical standpoint, lead to a slight shrink in the workforce. There are so many demographical, economic, cultural, geopolitical, and frankly, military implications of what's happening right now and will happen in the next 3 to 5 years. And Bitcoin is not going to it's not going to get out of suffering from that. It almost sounded like I was going to say it's not going to survive. I was going to say it's not going to not suffer. It was a double negative. There is absolutely every reason to believe that Bitcoin is going to do well over the next 3 to 5 years. The question is, how well? How will it navigate this new environment? How will the old guard of FTXs and Lunas and Crypto.coms and DCGs and Genesises, how will they survive in the new era? We don't know. The fact of the matter is, Bitcoin is going, the industry is going to have to adapt. Bitcoin's just as solid as it ever has been, but the industry needs a renovation. What'll that look like? We'll see. Sam Bankman-Fried is pleading not guilty. That's not going to give a lot of confidence to people that are trying to step into the industry who have not already, because there's a criminal mastermind afoot and he is trying to get out of it. And of course, there could be a war between involving DCG and Genesis and Cameron Winklevoss that we'll keep you guys up to date about here on the channel. Anyway, let's read chat a little bit and then we'll wrap it out. 2023 is going to be a difficult year for global markets. Definitely a very different year for global markets. And that's not going to make things any easier on Bitcoin. But it could end up being a good thing. Refined in the fire. That's what 2023 is going to be. Let's see. But we're not in a tech market yet, so it's all about speculation. Yep, there's a lot of that. No confidence in the dollar. Why I hoarded gold. Here's the thing. We have a $100 trillion economy, and that economy's got to run on some kind of payments architecture. There's only one payments architecture in the entire world that's able to do that, and that's the dollar. No other currency is... There's a lot of reasons why no other currency could be the world reserve currency right now, but no other currency is big enough. Bitcoin's certainly not big enough to be the world reserve currency yet. It could one day, in a very different system, attempt to do that, but I mean, we're talking 30 years from now. There's not a single other payments architecture in the history in the entire world that has the ability to do that. And you look back on the history of mankind, any time in history that there has been any semblance of global trade, the single defining factor of what was the world reserve currency status was the global superpower on the seas. At one point it was the Spanish. At one point it was the British. When they were the power on the seas, when they had the dominant military, when they had the largest economy, when they were the biggest power player on the planet, when they were the global superpower, their currency was world reserve currency status because everybody could trust the stability of that currency. The U.S. government and the United States currently is that power, and there's nothing that's going to change that anytime soon. So the U.S. dollar is very much unlikely to fall out of favor as the world reserve currency status, especially when the only two currencies that you could make any argument could challenge it in the next 20 years, the euro and the Chinese yuan, are both being crippled right now. Anyway, I'm over time. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. What's the website to CT2A? CT2A is forever taken offline right now, but Club DeFi will be coming back out soon. I'm not telling you the launch date yet, but there will be an announcement on that relatively soon. Stay tuned for that. We got a lot of educational content coming out soon. Can't wait to show you. Sean Frost in chat. Really do appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the post notification bell, guys, and please be praying for me. I know a lot of you guys do, but keep me in your prayers. I want to pray for you guys, and I appreciate it about just guidance and discernment and peace and walking in the Spirit and all those things. I love you guys, and I want what's best for you, and that's the truth. I mean, that's what I care about. You guys, I'm very clear about my priorities. My priorities are serving God, being the man I need to be for my family, and then, after those two things, in that order, being everything I need to be for you guys. Those are my priorities, and I want to do the very best I possibly can. That's my heart, and anybody who knows me, I would hope would tell you that that's the truth. I really care about you, and I want you to succeed. And that's why we don't just talk about crypto. That's why we also talk about global markets, and that's why I also talk about the Lord, because you can't be truly who you're called to be and truly be the servant that you're called to be without knowing the Lord. Anyway, hope you did enjoy. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it out. Before I go, though, guys, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.